Welcome guys to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my top 3 worst Dead by Daylight maps. I'm gonna tell you everything that I don't like about them, my personal top 3, and some honorable mentions. I hope that you guys are going to enjoy this video. Make sure that you're going to leave in the comments what your top 3 is, your personal choices. Before we get into the top 3, make sure that you're subscribed, hit the bell button so you're going to be notified of my future uploads, and like this video already, just in case. Let's go. Number 3 is Garden of Joy. I know this is not a surprise. I think everybody feels this way about this map. It's a more recent addition to the game, but I just feel like it's not really clicking with anything, even after it got changed, because it got a slight rework. The main reason why I don't like this map is because in all of its RNG, the way everything is structured, it feels like there's either places and zones on the map where everything is super cluttered and super dense, and then there's dead zones. I feel like also the main building is extremely problematic for both survivor and for killers. Sometimes survivors can take advantage of that. Sometimes killers can have a rough time with it because it's just so poorly optimized and so poorly designed. Even with all the breakable walls they have added, even with all of the changes, I don't think that it's a good map at all. One of the worst things as a survivor when it comes to Garden of Joy is the very empty zones on the map. Sometimes with RNG and the way things are being placed for a brand new match, you can have empty zones, and sometimes you can have everything just pushed to one corner of the map. I have noticed that happening, and it's just not a great experience. One other thing when it comes to survivors, sometimes the clutter on the map is just so well disguised that you can't even tell that is there until you're getting stuck on it or you're just tripping on it. It's really really inconvenient. You're in the middle of a chase and all of a sudden you're getting stuck on something that you didn't even see was there because you thought it's a bush or it's just a rock that you're going to like walk past it, but no, you're getting stuck on it and you can't even make it to the next loop. And now talking about loops, most of the loops are short, so either way it's going to be a very tight 50-50 day. You're going to have to be extremely careful to win with a killer. Now, for killers, those same loops that I was saying for survivors are very, very short, can be an advantage for you. But some of these loops can be very close to one another, and then the survivors can tie them together, no problem. And that can create a bit of a situation if you're struggling with the first down or downs in general. As a killer, again, the main building can be quite an inconvenience if you have a more experienced survivor you're chasing around there. Overall, I think Garden of Joy deserves its place in number 3 because yes, unfortunately, there are worse maps for me. A whooping number 2. We have Hawkins. It could be controversial to have it on there. I know. We have missed dearly this map. However, I do like to blame nostalgia for playing a big part in that. When it comes to Hawkins, we have been divided. There are some people that absolutely love it because of its ties with Stranger Things and the beloved series and all that. And because we missed it so much the moment it got pulled out of rotation when the license unfortunately ended a couple of years back. Now that it's back, however, I tend to agree with the other side of the story, and that is that this map is an absolute nightmare to play on for both survivor and killer. I don't know what it is, but it's just such a double-edged sword when it comes to Hawkins. All of the loops are super short, they're very narrow, the hallways are making it like very hard to dodge like ranged killers, and it's very difficult to determine which direction you want to take the chase in because you don't know what's going to be behind this closed door. A survivor, someone on a generator, someone healing. You have no idea where anything is. Everything's locked behind doors. The lighting is extremely buggy because sometimes it flickers where generators are supposed to be, but sometimes it doesn't. The second floor, I don't even want to start talking about it, and the mess that those offices are supposed to be. In a chase, you can't do anything about that. Like, the second floor is an absolute mess. Not even to mention the extremely risky generator room right at the end of the hallway. Everything is just a mess on the second floor, and for survivors, I don't see any reason why you would go up there, except just to work on the second floor generator and get it out of the way. But again, that's extremely risky. I don't understand why anyone would go there. Another thing from the survivor point of view is there's so many generators that are solo person, and it makes it incredibly difficult to try and maybe give a hand or to try and get some cooperation points on that map. Hawkins can be one of the buggiest map in the rotation currently. We've seen with the Christmas event, the snow piles were actually preventing killers from going around pallets without breaking them, because they would just completely cut off access through some of the passages. Sometimes Sadako's TVs or pigs boxes are locked, and somehow they're just clipping through generators. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just, Hawkins is a mess. Hawkins is a mess. I definitely believe that it needs to be looked into. It needs to be updated. I really hope that somewhere on that contract clause, it's specified that they can bring it up to date with everything that's happened in the realm while they were gone. As a killer now, I think that as a ranged killer, you're a bit limited to this. As a fast traveling killer as well, you're a bit limited to this, like Billy or Blight or Wesker. Ranged killers like Deathslinger or Huntress, you're a bit limited when it comes to the narrow hallways of this map. I think one of the biggest issues when it comes to killers playing on Hawkins is trying to figure out which one has open doors and access to the next hallway. I think is just too much going on. It can be a pain in the butt. So I don't know, for me, Hawkins is just like number 2, even though I've missed it, and I have to agree, I have to admit, I was a victim of nostalgia and I've missed this map. But the second it came back in rotation, I regretted my decision. I was like, can you please take this out right now? Just DVD players, what can I say? And now, number 1, the jewel of the crown, is Toba Landing. I hate this map. I try not to use the word hate because it's a big word. It means so much. I hate this map. You need to understand what I'm saying. I hate it. To me, it just seems like they drew a square and then they put a bunch of assets in there and then they shook the square, and as everything fell, that's exactly how they left it. The color palette, the choice in sounds, the choice in walls for any structure, the choice in the immense amount of clutter on that map, I think is the most cluttered map in the existence of Dead by Daylight. There's very little that comes next to it. It's just, again, as I said in the beginning of this video, this is all personal preference, but to me, Toba Landing is just a vomit of color, noises, clutter, and just strange objects like planted. Absolutely. There was a theme. Theme was respected. It's just, where do I even begin? I think I'm speaking for both survivors and killers when I say this. My biggest issue with this map when it came out, and sometimes even now, was to figure out which one was a wall, which one was a hook, and which one was just debris. What was what? It just created a lot of confusion. It created a lot of frustration, and I just completely, it made me hate it from the first moments I laid my eyes on it. Not to mention the color choice for the things on the ground. The sky is beautiful. I think that's like the most beautiful sky besides the Dead Dog Saloon. And I love it. Like whoever created that sky, like just amazing. Besides that, everything just looks like intestines. And I get it. It's a horror inspired game. I do get it. Trust me. It's just so unpleasant. It's just the noises and just everything annoys me. I feel like it's really, really hard to figure out which tile to go to next. It's very hard to see pallets, not to mention hooks. And I feel like auras for killers are blend so easily into the map. You can't even see survivors. You can't even see hooks on the map, not to mention anything else. And now, as I said, I have some honorable mentions for you guys, and those are going to be Borgo, Nostromo, and everyone's favorite swamp. Borgo is just a sore, a complete sore. The moment you load into that, any side you're playing, you just want to get out of it like as fast as you can. I can't include it in my top 3 because the color scheme of it is really the only thing that really bugs me. And let's just say here and there clutter here. But it seems to be well structured. The main building is not too crazy. And overall, I think it's just, it's a well structured map. I would only add that maybe it's too tiny and that pushes hooks like together too close. But other than that, I think it's just, it's an okay map. Nostromo. The clutter and the unnecessary things on this map should have like a category of its own. I love the Easter eggs on it. I love the interactive part of the map. It's just that's all. It's pretty and that's it. I feel like it has no structure. The main building is extremely dangerous for survivors, and then the rest of the map is extremely bare, I would say. The loops that you have in the middle of the map sometimes can either be too strong, like 4 wall tiles, or you can have just 2 walls and 1 pallet in the middle. There's nothing in between. Everything's scattered. Everything's like all over the place. It's just, it lives up to its name, the Nostromo Wreckage. It's a wreck. And of course, we couldn't have a video like this without our good old swamp. I think everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone in this community, is begging for a swamp rework. I don't understand how is the only map, the only realm in Dead by Daylight that hasn't been touched and updated and reworked to bring it into our current century. When it comes to green paint tree, there have been a couple of trees brought like right in the middle to kind of help with breaking line of sight and so on and so forth. It's just, I think it needs a bit more, especially Pale Rose. God, Pale Rose. Why have you forsaken Pale Rose? We'll never know. Anyway, so that is my personal top 3 worst Dead by Daylight maps for both sides, and my personal 3 honorable mentions. If you guys think that I missed anything, make sure that you leave it down in a comment. Maybe even write me your own personal top 3 worst maps in Dead by Daylight. Let me know what you think and make sure that you're subscribed, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in my next one.